But this is Anthony, and he is the Southeast Trade Manager for Forge Gin. And he is just amazing. Like, I cannot wait for you guys to really dive in with him. So, Anthony, why don't you share a little bit about yourself for those who may have missed our Father's Day event?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me back. It's one of my favorite things to do, especially that I get to sit in the comfort of my home with my best friend Nemo here. Yeah, like you said, I'm the Southeast Trade Advocacy Manager for Brown Forman, and I oversee Forge Gin, and Diplomatico Rum, and Old Forester Bourbon, and a lovely gin called Gin Mare. Yes, you got it.
I got it. I got our old Forster pick too. So,
I think you've been.
beautiful.
Oh, that's the barrel. That's the
Yeah,
barrel
it's our
pick,
barrel
right?
pick. Yeah,
Look at you. I only have
I
two.
know. Warehouse K, getting it.
Warehouse K is a little sweeter,
Yeah.
from what I'm told.
It's probably one of my favorite bourbons. So this is one of the ones that I save. But we're not here to talk bourbon. We're actually here for the drink of the summer. I think one of the drinks of the summer, gin and tonics, and talking about Forge Gin. So, um, first off, let's start about the history of Forge Gin. So, why don't you share a little bit for those who may not know the story?
It's a beautiful story, and thank you for asking. So, Ford's was developed by our founder, Simon Ford, many years ago. And kind of what Simon thought was, 98% of people who drink gin are using it to mix in cocktails. Okay. There's a few people out there that drink gin straight, but the whole ethos and ideology behind gin is to be married with other mixtures and spirits and to make beautiful cocktails. So where a lot of people take their gins and take cocktails and try to make gins around that cocktails around that gin, Simon kind of reverse engineered the whole gin theory and said, let's pick 9 botanicals that work with over 100 plus classic and modern classic cocktails. So we teamed up with a 11th generation distiller named Charles Maxwell. And I tell people, what that exactly means. I was like, if your father was a barber, his father was a barber, his father, his father, his father, maybe his mother, all the way back to the 1700s, they've been
Hmm.
making amazing spirits. So those
Oh,
two
wow.
teamed together and created this amazing modern take on a London dry style gin that perfectly and fluidly matches with most every modern and classic cocktail.
That's incredible. And, one of the things that is so amazing about this bottle is that, so even just from the outside of this gin, you can just see like all these passport stamps, which is so fun. But then this is what I really want to call attention to. You actually list out all of the botanicals and the tasting notes, which is so interesting to me. You don't necessarily see that with gins.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, education and transparency is such a big forefront on this expression of gin. And Simon and his team, way before my time, put a lot of thought and a lot of love into, obviously the liquid itself, the spirit, but even
Hmm.
the bottle. There's a lot of fun secrets behind this bottle. First of all,
Yeah.
it's most like it's in my mind, it's the most efficient bottle out there in history. It was designed by bartenders for bartenders. So whether you
Hmm.
have small hands, you grab in the middle, you're kind of a flair bartender, you grab at the top. But besides all those amazing features, it's full transparency. And like you said, on the side of the bottle, it'll showcase our 9 botanicals, what regions throughout the world they're from, and almost a little cheat sheet for the bartender who wants to talk about it, the flavor profile of each botanical, which I even find myself sometimes when I'm doing a speech, I'm like, oh, yeah, our juniper is from Italy. I'm just
Oh,
joking. I
yeah.
obviously know where it's from, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just even, you talk about like the cassia from Indonesia. It's just so incredible just how much knowledge you have just on the bottle itself. And then one of the things, speaking of the secrets, is that all of the measurements here. So why don't you tell us like what people can do with this?
Yeah, so it's a multifunctional bottle, like you said. Sustainability is really big on our brand lens as well. And, for the bartender, basically all the stickers on this bottle as well is made with a super heat light glue, adhesive glue. So they will peel off, and you can reuse this in your bars for lime juice, agave, grapefruit, whatever you're using on the juices and syrup aspect. But also, what we love to use this bottle for is something called the freezer door martini. It could be a martini or a Negroni. Pretty much what we do is we pre-batch and we pre-dilute the cocktail, and you stick it in the freezer, and now you have a lovely freezer door martini at the helm, ready to go to work with your guests when you're over. And pretty much how you do that is, this is a liter bottle, so a little over 33 ounces. You have your measurements on the back, and depending on the strength of your martini, some people like a 50-50, some people like a 5-to-1, a little bit more umph. You can bring down the gin, so you take like 4 or 5 ounces out, make your lovely gin and tonics, and then you want to fill a few ounces of vermouth, some high quality vermouth, and then a couple ounces of water. And so that's mimicking the dilution ratio when you're stirring your martini. And then you add your vermouth already. You stick that in the freezer. Because the alcohol content is not going to freeze. You're not going to get a martini slushy, so don't be afraid. But you put that in the freezer, and it's going to come this really beautiful, almost magical process that happens. It almost gets really viscous and almost like syrupy, but not sweet and syrupy. It actually creates a really nice, smooth and silky mouthfeel and texture. So you pull it out. It's a super cold, nice chilled martini. You can even keep your glasses in the freezer as well. And I always like to say, I host a lot of people. When you're hosting guests, you don't want to be working. You want to make sure you're out and talking to your guests. So pull that from the freezer, your glass, and you have 6 to 8 martinis, pow, 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 on the go.
I love it. Yeah, I'm a 50-50 gal myself. So I love doing a 1-to-1 ratio and then doing a little splash of absinthe. So
Oh, so
not
that's like an obituary.
yeah, kind of. A
Yeah.
little bit of an obituary style, not as much absinthe, like kind of like a little spritz at the end with a lemon
Well,
twist.
how much vermouth are you putting in there?
Ooh, so I'm doing a 1-to-1 ratio, so
Oh,
50
okay. Oh,
50.
50-50. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
right on. See, I have a whole theory on, on a proper martini at 50-50, and it comes with a little bit of age where even in the last maybe 15, maybe the last from early mid 90s to early 2000s, the martini became just extremely dry. People just glance at the bottle of
Yeah.
vermouth, don't even use it. And the thought behind me was, vermouth is such an amazing, modifier or wine, but people weren't taking care of it.
Mm.
You go in a bar and a bottle of vermouth would be sitting on the back bar for a year and a half. It's just sitting collecting dust. That's wine. It oxidizes. It gets awful.
Yep.
It's sour. And in my little weird mind, I figured out why that dry martini and the 50-50 martini and the beauty vermouth kind of left the bar is because anyone who would order that, they were getting a really spoiled vermouth in their drink. And they were like,
Yeah.
they weren't blaming the vermouth quality. They were just saying, oh, I don't like vermouth. It doesn't taste good. But if you get the right vermouth, it's properly chilled, and it's taken care of. The 50-50 martini is where it's at. Summer
Yep,
pressure.
absolutely. I mean, I agree, and I say that as somebody who was a bartender and who left out their vermouth, and then as soon as it like somebody said, "No, you need to put it in the fridge," so now I like preach that gospel everywhere and put your vermouth in the fridge.
I
So
still leave it in the back bar. It's like, no, we want to showcase it. Let everyone know we have,
yeah,
2 lovely vermouths. But no, keep your vermouth, treat it like wine, cork it, take the air
hmm
out of it, and give it some love and put in some Fords. And have an amazing martini.
I love it. Well, speaking of amazing drinks that you can make with forts, are you ready? Let's make some gin and tonics. Yes.
So we're gonna go with 3 styles of the Spanish gin and tonic. Do we want to switch the screen? So, oh, look at that.
Look at
This is
that.
my lovely setup. So, for anyone who doesn't know, what we try to do with Fords and other brands from Brown-Forman, besides drinking responsibly, everybody, okay? Make sure you're on your P's and Q's out here, is elevate a classic cocktail, elevate an everyday cocktail. My whole ideology on cocktails and everything I do to approach this style of thing is simple ingredients but proper technique. Stuff you
Mhm.
can. I don't go out and get stuff that you can't get at home. It's like I want to make sure everyone gets the same stuff, just a little bit of technique, and we can all have an amazing life together. So when I talk about a gin and tonic, right? Most people, it's a great cocktail. It's one of the best-selling gin cocktails out there. Most
Mhm.
people's recognition of a gin and tonic is you go to a nightclub or a bar, they pull out a Collins glass, they have their tonic in the soda gun, they have their well gin, squirt it up, throw a lime in there, throw it at you, $8 all day. That's fine.
Mhm.
That's good to go. But what we like to do is celebrate, the beauty of forged gin, right? So we don't want to put subpar tonic. We don't want to put subpar product into this lovely spirit. So hence lies the Spanish gin and tonic. So this kind of came into the limelight late 90s, early 2000s in the Basque region of Spain. And basically what it is, you know, You don't drink wine out of a Collins glass, right? Right? Why not? Well, because you're ruining the aromatics, right? You're ruining the whole theatrics of the wine. So that kind of
Mm-hmm.
same ideology. We want to get a balloon glass or a wine glass, right? And the whole thing about a Spanish gin and tonic, how I see it, is aesthetics and aromatics. What does that mean, Anthony? Aesthetics and aromatics, I preach this a lot because I think it runs in all times of life, right? It's the reason
Yeah.
you get up in the morning, you take a shower, you put a nice shirt on, right? Aesthetics and aromatics, for us, we want to make sure we look good and we smell good and people will think we're good, right? Even though we are. So
Yeah.
same ideology behind that. We want to get the wine glass, right? That's obviously for aromatics. You get all those beautiful, essences from everything we put in the glass. But also, we want to make sure we have a big wine glass because we're going to jam a lot of cool stuff in here, and we don't want it to
Yeah.
overflow. Okay, so we have 3 different styles of Spanish gin and tonics for us today, right? We're going to go
Yep.
a triple citrus, a
Okay.
savory, and an aromatic, right?
Okay.
And they
Yeah.
all lean back to the 9 botanicals of Ford's, and they're all very easy to make. And I say we get this going. So at home, you grab your wine glass. Obviously, grab your wine glass. Yes. I start with the gin because it's my favorite. Generally, I'll do about an ounce, ounce and a half. Longevity is the name of the game. Drinking responsibly is also the name of the game. Check me out for a little free pour. So I do about an ounce of gin because this is a summer cocktail, right? We want to sit
Yeah.
outside with it, we want to drink. We're not drinking martinis all day. This is a beautiful expression. So our gin. So we're going to go the triple citrus. So the cool thing
Okay.
about triple citrus is Ford's has triple citrus in the botanicals. So we use bitter grapefruit,
Mm.
orange, and lemon. We use all the
Okay.
dried peels of those, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to
Okay.
accentuate all the grapefruit, lemon, and orange nuances that are in the back end of Ford's, and we're going to bring them out. So
Okay.
what I like to do is, we're going to take our time on this build. Obviously,
Mhm.
this is a very quick process in real life, but we're going to walk through this. I don't want people to be like, well, I'm not going to wait 5 minutes to make a gin and tonic. Well, we can make it quicker, but hey, this is learning, okay?
Yeah,
So
we're gonna do some education here
this is
too.
education. Get a good kitchen knife, right? Sharp knives are best. Sharp knives don't hurt you. Dull knives will hurt you, okay? So one of my little fun things I like to do, we don't really want the juice of the fruit, right? We want all the aromatics, a little bit of the oils. So I
Mhm.
do a nice thin grapefruit peel or a grapefruit slice.
Oh yeah.
Not a
Okay.
big chunky wedge. Okay, and I'll explain that later. So we have our grapefruit. Same thing with the lemon. For the lemon, because it's a smaller fruit, I'm gonna go a nice, beautiful wheel, super thin,
Mm.
because
Super
this cocktail is
thin.
gonna look cool as well, right? Besides taste amazing, we want it to look cool. And then orange as well. Depending on the side of your glass, you can even fit a lovely orange wheel in there.
Love it.
So you know what actually I'm gonna do? Because this is live TV. I'm gonna do a grapefruit wheel just because I think I can pull it off. So we have our grapefruit wheel, our lemon wheel, and our orange wheel that matches the triple
Mhm.
citrus that is in Ford's gin. Okay. What I
Okay.
like to do is I kind of, we want to make this fancy, right? So I take the grapefruit and the orange, line it up inside the glass, also the lemon. So it's like we're
Mhm.
building a little terrarium in there.
Oh
Super
yeah, it
fun.
does. I love it. Okay.
Fill it with some nice ice. Look at
You
you.
got mine?
And so premium tonic water is very important as well. This stuff is widely available at any of your supermarkets. It's like we're putting good fruit, we're putting amazing gin in our drink. We don't want to ruin it all with some subpar product. So I think we're using
Yeah.
Fever Tree here. Super beautiful,
We
light,
have this on our
refreshing.
site too. So,
Yes.
if you do not have access to your local grocery store to Fever Tree, we do sell this on reservebar.com.
Perfect. So this is a very simple gin and tonic, right? Triple citrus. But like I
Mhm.
said earlier, right? Simple ingredients, proper technique. So it's one
Mhm.
little trick of the trade I like to do just to give it that little X factor, right? And so we have our aesthetics, right? A beautiful Spanish Mediterranean style gin and tonic. Do me a favor, go put your snout in there, give it a little smell. Pretty nice, right? You're
Mm.
getting the gin
Yeah.
coming through, you're getting the tonic. what I like to do is aromatics are so important, right? So your choice at home, grab your orange, grapefruit, or lemon, whatever you want.
Okay.
Orange generally has deeper flavors, lemon has brighter. And you take your potato peeler, you can use a knife or whatever, and get a big old swath of the oils, right? Oils are so important in anything we do, especially in the spirits industry, right? There's so much
Hmm.
residual oil from the gin during distillation that really extension gives you all this amazing flavor. So you take your orange, your grapefruit, or your lemon, and you take that zest and you just right over the glass, right on top. Now you're gonna have this lovely bouquet of whatever citrus you chose. Now, boom! Now I'm getting blown
Oh,
away.
yeah.
And if you really want to get really freaky, add some orange and lemon oil, whatever you want. The versatility of the gin and tonic is where it's at. You can really have fun. You can even take your orange peel, and take your paring knife and manicure it as well. You know, this is if you really want to impress somebody. Go down the sides, and then right down the lengthways, and you can put this bad boy right on the side of the glass. And now you have a lovely
Yeah.
flying dove on top. What do you
I
think?
love it. I love it. This is so great. I'm also making mine. Be fancy.
Oh,
Look at
it's so good.
that.
And it's pretty too. And then you
Oh.
know we're gonna go down the line and make other ones. But like I went to art school, humble brag, failed out. But the colorways of cocktails are very important as well. So we have all this light citrus color. Throw some green in there, a little sprig of mint, or throw a rosemary, just for some from a little bit of some different balance.
Yeah, this is honestly, normally I just throw some lime in there. I've never done grapefruit in my gin and tonic, and I have to say I love it. So,
So
so
good.
refreshing.
Poolside outside at the park. It's a classic for a reason, and just doing little tricks like this, I think it'll keep it a classic.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
All right.
Now, I know. I don't want to leave it, but we have two more to make.
I know there's so many possibilities.
I love it. Okay.
Also, what I'm going to share on my social media later is because we do a lot of these gin and tonic classes all around Florida and South Carolina and throughout the country as well. Um, like I said, Ford's is a really big educational brand, so we have some amazing gin and tonic posters that I even use as cheat sheets. So this is our Spanish
Oh,
gin and tonic poster, and it literally has 15 different variations with all the descriptions and pictures. So I'm going to post this on my stories on social media. If people aren't happy with these 3 ones we're giving here, you can really go to town with the other 15.
and we'll
So,
share that on our stories as well, so that everyone has access to this. So take a screenshot, save it, and then make some incredible gin and tonics this summer.
all right, so number 1, that's a success, right? So we had our triple
Yes.
citrus. That kind of highlights the triple citrus in Fords. Next thing, let's take a little stroll through the garden and do a little, call it savory, right?
Mm-hmm.
Savory gin and tonic. Gin and tonic Fords, it goes with every flavor profile, every flavor combination. It's, you can't really mess this up. It's all about having
Yeah.
fun. So this, we're going to go, nice English cucumber.
Mm-hmm.
Got a cucumber? Now I'm going to let you choose your own adventure on this. Next
Okay.
one will be some herbs. So mint or basil, they both work extremely well, and they're
Oh,
both
okay.
green. I'm feeling my basil right now is very pretty and ripe. I'm going to rock with that.
I
Then,
think I think I'm gonna roll with my mint. Mine is also smelling very fragrant right now.
and then you have another choice of thyme as well, just for some more like little darker herbaceous notes. You got your thyme, love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you have any lime.
I do.
Oh, let's throw lime in the mix because limes are
Okay.
green. So,
Yeah.
same story before. Ounce of gin, ounce and a half of Forge gin, whatever you'd like. And I really like if I'm, impressing family members or some loved ones, and I have a small party. I'm doing 4 of these at a time. You know, I'll get real nerdy and really build these out. And the cool little thing is, add your ice at the end, so you can, if you really want to get lost in this cocktail and really build it out and make a beautiful presentation, you're not
Yeah.
diluting, not going to ruining it. And that's kind of why I'm doing it this way. So quick tip, right? We always do our quick tips. Simple ingredients, proper technique, right? Smell your basil. Beautiful basil, right? You know the deal, right? Give it,
Yep.
yes, give it a little. There's all these essential oils and everything around us in life, and just give them a little wake up call every once in a while. We'll just blow those flavors out of proportion. So let's have our basil. Actually, yeah, we have our basil here. So I'm gonna do. I like to keep the crown. So back when I was a bartender, the big ones were for flavor, but the fun little crowns that are in the middle, they're almost like little flowers. Those are your
Yeah.
presentation ones. Those are your little hidden gems. So if I'm making a bunch of gin and tonics, I'll pull the big flavorful leaves out, and those will go in the glass. And then the really beauty, like stars of the show, will be like the crown on top.
Yeah. I love it.
So I'll throw some, our basil leaves in there. Obviously, everyone, with the TV or YouTube channel, you've all seen people do amazing things with cucumbers. You could slice them in circles. You could go back to our citrus peeler and do a lovely long ribbon. Okay, just make sure you don't hurt yourself. It could be dangerous. And the ribbons are amazing. So you can saw this on YouTube once. This person,
Oh yeah.
he just wrapped it around your your straw, and now we
Uh-huh.
have a little cucumber rose.
That's so cute.
You
I
can
love it.
freeze those, put them in ice cubes, whatever you want. So we can drop our cucumber in there as well. You can even take that long cucumber and wrap it around the inside of the glass. You can
I've seen
do,
that.
you could do nice long chunky guys. Just kind of lay them in there. I think it's really fun. Thyme as well. Let's throw a few sprigs of thyme in there. Thyme's extremely aromatic. Yeah, give it a little
Yeah, I was
beating.
about to say I'm ready.
Let them know we're hanging out.
Yeah.
So now we have like a lovely green garden terrarium. Very simple ingredients. Add our ice. Fill it up with our tonic. I always do about 4 or 5 ounces of tonic. And this is fun as well. So you can take a straw and you can even mix it up a little bit and just, if you want to make sure your lovely ingredients are showcasing.
Oh man.
Nemo
He's
just
talking to
approved that he
us.
really likes this drink.
Yeah.
So, last thing I'm going to do is, so we got this lovely cocktail. Let's do some aromatics, okay? So you can do your same thing. You can take your citrus peeler and get lime has really deep essential oils inside there, waiting to come out. Another tool I use, you might not have this, but it's called the channel knife. These are really fun. They're multifaceted. We used to use them back in the day. If you take the little kind of rake side, and you can rake down ribbons of lime zest that are extremely aromatic. They're juicy, and if you do it right, you can get a nice long one, and you can just either let that hang off the side of your glass or wrap around the side. There's so much residual oil in there. It's pastry chefs love lime zest, and that's our savory gin and tonic.
I love it. Well, cheers.
Cheers, virtual cheers.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
This one's so good.
Even like throw a raspberry in there, a raspberry just for a little color pop, right?
Yeah.
So we have 2 so far. What's your favorite? What do you notice the differences of?
So exactly what you were talking about, like, the triple citrus is very refreshing. Like this to me, okay, hear me out. This reminds me of like adult Sprite or something like that. Like it's not as sweet as Sprite, but like you kind of get those like very refreshing flavors, right? This one is definitely for me, like mine is way more herbal. So I'm getting a little bit more I'm to me, like, it's pulling out some more of the forward's flavors than what I was expecting. Like, I'm getting more of not even just the herbal notes, but also some of the spices, like,
That's
I
nice.
know that we're about to, be diving into some of these spices. I have, some of them ready. But man, this one is, like, so fascinating because, like, man, yeah, I was just trying like I'm using my cheat sheet
Yeah.
here. But yeah, like the coriander seed, I know we don't have any coriander, which is also known as cilantro for those who don't know.
Boom, boom, boom.
And so just kind of getting a lot of those like herbaceous notes that like, honestly, you don't really experience in gin. Like, sometimes you get, like, way too much like, not too much, but you get a ton of juniper on your palate, and I think a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't like gin because of all the juniper." Well, this to me is, like, adding a lot more complexity to it. So I
Yeah.
think I like this one better just because I love complexity and I love, some funky flavors, so that's exactly
Yeah.
what it's bringing out for me.
They're both. I mean, I'm just tasting it right now. They're so easy and they're so good. But to your point exactly, there's so many underlying flavors in forwards, but also all spirits and bourbon and
Mhm.
whiskey and scotch. And there's so many nuances, but you need to elevate those and bring those flavors out. And it's how do you
Mhm.
get them? It's you're bringing correlating flavors to bring those out.
Mhm.
Like forged gin, the makeup of our botanicals is 49.5% juniper. So that's like the
Yep.
backbone of the structure. But then you have, a 2 or 3% of cassia. So it's only a little bit of cinnamon. But
Mm.
adding grapefruit will draw that cinnamon out.
Mhm.
Adding thyme and cucumber will draw those coriander and that earthy notes out. So
Mhm.
that's where you can really get nerdy and fun and experimental when you're building these Spanish gin and tonics. Is
Yeah.
seeing what aspect you want to bring out, and just experiment and have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I talk about this all the time. But if you really want to get nerdy, one of my favorite books of all time is The Flavor Bible. That has
Yes.
really allowed for me to understand more of those flavor profiles and understanding, what goes with what. And just like, like I have my orange here with my green background and they're complementary colors. And it's just like that with your food. There's so many foods that are complementary to each other that's going to bring out more flavors. And that's exactly what you can start to think of with cocktails.
Yeah, get a little notebook too. My mother,
Mhm.
she was an amazing cook. I learned a lot from her cooking. Shout out Jan. But she had a little notebook with her, and it's like as you build your recipes out, whether they're passed down, and then you discover something on your own. It's anyone who's trying to figure something out in life, write something down, and you build on it. You can always go back to that and get
Mm.
better.
I love that. Yeah, my mom, shout out to Debbie. She also had a notebook. She baked a lot. And so just being able, she wrote down hand wrote all of her recipes down. And so, like, as a child growing up, like, I learned so much just from being in the kitchen with her. So
Yeah. Now I
incredible.
have to text her. I'm like, can you give me the shrimp scampi recipe? And she's like, okay.
I love it.
All right.
Well, okay, let's do this last one.
We are crushing it right now.
We
So
are.
we did our triple citrus, we did our savory, and we're gonna go with spicy and aromatic. How's that sound?
Mm, I
Um,
love it.
Warning: this is not jalapeno spicy. This is kitchen spice, right? Something we take pride
Hmm.
on in the spirit
Baking
world.
spice. Yep.
Okay, so not Tabasco, not jalapeno. This is anise, cinnamon, grapefruit peel, cardamom, star anise, everything fun. You go to the spice rack in Whole Foods or Publix or whatever your local grocery store is, and you can go there and find full seeds, nothing ground, no powders. Don't get those things because that'll get a little nasty and get stuck in your teeth.
Yeah.
But go for the full seeds, full pods, dried fruit, and you can really have fun. So you know the deal. Oh, stop
Oh,
it!
yeah.
So you know the deal. Ounce and a half. Another cool kind of fun fact. It's like if you're taking your time and building these out, alcohol draws out flavors of anything, right? It's how you do infusion.
Hmm.
So, you know, if we're gonna start with grapefruit, take your grapefruit peel and put it in that gin. Let that sit for a while as you're looking around. If you're experimenting and you have time. So let's start with that. Let's get our grapefruit.
Mm.
And let's get a big old, I'm going for a big old healthy swath, okay? And,
Okay.
we're never wasting the fruit because we're going to use the juice. But if you see inside, I'm going to go Concord style around the world twice.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you are. Let's try this.
Kind of like an old Brandy Crusta vibe. And I'm going to just work this guy around the inside like an anaconda. Beautiful. So we have our grapefruit.
Yep.
Cassia bark. If you can't get that, that's just like really high grade cinnamon. But or you can use regular cinnamon sticks, whatever you can get. This is a cool one I noticed as well. Like, the aromatics of cinnamon only come out really when you grate them,
Yeah.
right? So if you have, a meat cleaver sitting around or a hammer, let's see if I just. Oh yeah.
Oh man,
First
just
of all,
break it up.
now break it up. Oh my god, because depending on where you get these from, they might be processed, they might be shipped around a lot, and they lose their flavor. They lose a lot of their life. So give them a little wake up hammer, and almost like a little campfire in there.
Nice. Oh my
I already
goodness.
smell
Yep.
it.
Mm.
We're gonna spice this mofo up. So star anise.
Mhm.
This is a dried fruit from China, right? From the I think it's Lycium vera shrub. I forget what it is, but spicy, warm, a little bit of licorice in there. Really
Mhm.
fun. Great in your hot toddies or any of your warm, fall cocktails. One will do it. That gin as well, if you really pull those flavors out. What else do you have to play with? Anything fun or what?
I have juniper berries.
Stop it. So juniper, what I just noticed I have. So juniper, like we said, is the backbone of Ford gin and most London dry style gins. It's not a berry, right? It's a highly evolved pine cone dating over 250 million years old. But you get floral, you get lavender, you get pine, you get kind of like Christmas tree on the
Mhm.
good end. We get our juniper from Italy because it's a lot more soft and subtle and fragrant. Other juniper berries might be a little bit sharp and tangy. So that's a fun one. Going back to our herbaceous one, a little juniper berries in there, add a little zing.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
But we can also add our juniper in our spicy guy. So, 5 or 6, sprinkle around. You guys can get these at stores as well. I think Whole Foods. I personally get my juniper berries from Star West Botanicals. I don't know if you've
Mm.
heard of them.
I have not, but now I'm gonna have to look them
Yeah,
up.
they have really high quality botanicals, and I get all when we do our staff trainings and our engagements. I get all of our 9 botanicals for Fords there, just because it's easier to get, and we get our botanicals from a place called Joseph Fleck and Sons. Those are culinary medicinal herb experts, and they source these around the world. That's what goes into Fords.
Oh.
I'm too low on the totem pole. I can't even buy those things. But.
Oh man.
So we're gonna add
I
our ice in there. Lovely. Top it off with our lovely tonic. And this is a fun one too if you're hosting people at home. Make 2 or 3 different styles, and you don't have to put them in the wine glass. You can even put them in a pitcher and make these large format. Put a little note, which ingredients you have each, but keep it easy and readable. This is savory, this is aromatic, this is triple
mm,
citrus. So we have our lovely, call this the spicy boy, and then we want
spicy
to do a little
boy.
bit of aromatics, right? So
Yep.
what do you think this one needs? We have grapefruit, we have anise, we have cinnamon, and we have juniper.
I think this one could go with a little grapefruit spritz.
Love that for us. So we'll grab our grapefruit. You can use the citrus peel, like I said, it's easier. But a kitchen knife will do the same as well. But yeah, everything has essential oils we've talked about. Our
Yeah.
skin has oils, and if you look at all the rinds of these fruit, all these lovely oils, we don't want the juice, right? We're not making a daiquiri or a gimlet, right? We're not squeezing juice in there.
Mhm.
We want the lovely deep-rooted oils from inside that on that fruit and that skin, and that's gonna take our gin and tonic to the next level.
Well, cheers.
Wow, spicy boy.
Oh my goodness, this is so good.
Oh, this is a Sophie's choice right here.
It absolutely. Oh gosh, are you really gonna make me choose?
I want to choose. This is very hard.
Okay.
Nemo, what do you think? He's eating a bone.
Nemo thinks the bone is delicious. Oh man.
He's part of it.
Okay. I think it's this one still. It's so good. It's so
The savory
refreshing.
one
Yeah,
is ridiculous.
it's so good. But this one is delicious.
I know it's funny because like I was never really a bitter person. Jokes aside,
Hmm.
but bitter flavors, grapefruit tart, all that stuff. Like I never was a big fan. My mother grew up; she always had grapefruit with a little bit of sugar on top for breakfast.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think that did something mentally to me because I was like, oh, I don't like grapefruit juice. But when you build them this way, it's these are really really good.
Okay, I'm changing my mind though. I think Spicy Boy's coming back to me.
Did you go back to the savory though? Now the juniper because it's sitting in the alcohol and the tonic.
Yeah.
The juniper's opening up.
Oh man. Talk about triple citrus. We're triple fisting here. So
Responsibly, folks. This is all
responsibly, yeah.
in the
So
name of
this is
science.
in the name of science. So, like, one of the really great programs that you guys do is the pause program. And I love it because it's not like, you have to stop everything. It's you know what? Take a pause, take a break, take a moment, and then you can come back to it when you're ready. And so that could be pausing for one drink, it could be pausing for the night, it could be pausing for a month. Like, it's really up to you and how long you want to pause. And I love that idea of responsible drinking and just like taking a moment and just saying, let's pause.
Listen, man, I couldn't agree with you more. It's like, it doesn't matter how old you are, 21 to 79. It's, you're enjoying these amazing spirits that people took a lot of time and effort to build. But
Hmm.
you're experiencing people around you as well. Like, hey, man, like, be cognizant of the time where you are and who you're talking to. Have a glass of water in between cocktails. Water is amazing. It's the lifeblood. Um, I try to drink about, they say, an ounce per pound. So, about 180 ounces a day. No, 215 ounces a day I drink. But yeah, take your time to pause, drink some water. Drink responsibly, conserve your energy. It's a long
Hmm.
game. We're not in. It's not the beer Olympics. You really want to savor some of
Yeah.
these spirits.
Yeah, and I love, like, especially with doing something like this, like, it's so easy for you to even just do like a gin bar, if you will, a gin and tonic bar for hosting. You just set out like literally everything that we've done here and just like set them out, and people can like make their own gin and tonics with like whatever they want to be appropriate. Like, I did 1 ounce for my gin and tonics just now because, it's the afternoon and I want to ease into it. And then, maybe you want to do an ounce and a half or 2 ounces, but it's really just allowing people to choose their own journey. And I love
Yeah.
that as a hosting idea.
Oh, 100%. It's like we're kind of paying a little homage from the old classic Build Your Bloody Mary bar. But it's that
Hmm.
consumer interaction, it's your friend interaction. And as a host, if you're hosting, you want to make sure they have the best experience possible. But you take your kitchen table, you cut about 10, you take two grapefruits, two oranges, two lemons, a little bit of sprig of basil, some mint, rosemary, and you can get a little chalkboard sign. This is savory. It's those little extra touches, and then
Hmm.
here's some glasses of tonic. Here's a nice bin. You did all your work. You can host and have fun. They can overbuild their own, and it's fun because it's new in a way for us as well. It's
Yeah. I love that. And I think that is just, such a great idea. And honestly, Forge Gin is probably one of my favorite gins now. And I say that as someone who drinks a lot of gin. But just, even just like you were talking about the bottle and how it's holding, but I have a very small hand. I joked with you guys that I wear children's size gloves.
yeah.
And so I buy for the kids size section. And like being able to hold a bottle and feel comfortable with it is a really big deal for somebody like me. So it's just really nice, like just the thought that has gone into it from how you guys chose the ingredients and the botanicals that you're putting in, and then how everything mixes well together to, even just being a home bartender, and maybe you're just starting your journey, but you can feel comfortable knowing that, hey, no matter what you throw at this, it's going to be good. And I love
What?
that.
100%. Like I said, Simon and his team did a great
Hmm.
a great job at saying gin is made to be mixed with, made for cocktails, made for fun. Um, let's stop cocktails chasing after the gin. Let's make sure this gin works with everything. And
Hmm.
he showed and proved. And like I said, man, it's the bartender's favorite. It's right now it's one of the favorites for a classic gin and tonic or a Spanish gin and tonic. It's just extremely approachable. It is 90 proof, so a little bit of alcohol extra showcases lovely. It showcases throughout whenever your cocktail. It's not going to get lost with some, with a little bit of with standard lesser alcohol, lesser proof gins. That 90 proof is
Hmm.
that sweet spot. It's really, it's not going to destroy your palate. It's a beautiful bouquet of flavors that will showcase lovely in all cocktails. You want to see something cool?
Yes.
So
Let me see.
back in the day, I used to do a lot of security in nightclubs in New York, and
Hmm.
you're surrounded with a lot of unmentionable people, and a lot of people like to yell things and ever. And one of my bosses used to always say when someone says something, he would be like, sounds good, like pretty much, oh, that sounds cool, but like, can you prove it, right?
Hmm.
And I take that methodology to Forge Gin. So when we create this brand, right? It's pot stilled, right? We have two small stills in Thames Distillery in South London. They're called Tom Thumb and Thumbelina. People might think it's just 30-foot continuous stills that are just like Wizard of Oz style. No,
Hmm.
it's a beautiful little warehouse. They're about 5 feet tall. They're about 500 liters of capacity, and they produce at a time 200 liters or 200 bottles of forged gin at a time. Okay,
Hmm.
but the process which we make Swords and how we add our botanicals is the real magic. Okay, we're sourcing the best botanicals throughout the world. We have Simon, we have Charles Maxwell, John Dory's the people who built our still. So all the best people are making this product the best. So whoever doesn't know about gin production, it's a pretty easy production process, right? You can really do it bad, you can mess it up, but if you put some love and process into it, you can make some amazing spirit. But
Hmm.
for anyone who doesn't know about gin production, you start with a neutral grain spirit, kind of like a vodka. Um, and then you add your botanicals and you distill that, okay? And it heats up, turns into vapor, and then it chills down and it condensates. Then you have your
Hmm.
kind of flavored gin. Take out the heads and the tails, you take out all the bad stuff. But so Simon and Charles, they load so much botanicals into the pot still. So you take Tom Thumb, our pot still, you put our neutral grain spirit, which is like a wheat-based spirit, and we load it with all the juniper, orris root, jasmine, angelica, cassia. We overload it so much because the thought process behind that is higher alcohol, more oils, more flavor. Okay,
Hmm.
so if you take your little Glencairn, there's something I like to show. It's when I say sounds good, it's like, okay, you talk all that game, can you prove it?
Hmm.
So what I like to do is we take any kind of glass you have, add your lovely spirit in there. So we have 9 botanicals, right? 90 proof, all this amazing flavors, all these oils, but you
Yep.
can't really tell, right? It just looks clear, right? Smells good, tastes delicious, obviously. But what happens when you add a little bit of water into oil?
Oh yeah.
Right? Oil and
It
water,
separates.
yes. So when I want to showcase all the hard work that these gentlemen do and how much botanicals they pack in, and so all this residual oil is more flavor, we take our glass, hold it up to some light, and
Hmm.
then we take any little water, doesn't matter how much. You put a few drops of water in there, and you're going to see all the oils just separate. It's going to almost like jellyfish in there, and that's all the oils and all the water kind of running away from each other. So it's all
Oh
that
my
residual oils are in this glass at all times, and that's where you get all your flavor from. So a little bit of water, make it come alive. It'll open up the spirit as well. Super fun to do at home.
God. Hmm. Oh my goodness, that's so crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes. I I could see where you were going with it, the oil and the water and separating it out, and oh my goodness, this is so cool to
Yeah, I
see.
think
What a
that's
fun parlor trick.
yeah, and it's like I don't think it's the misconception, but I think it's just overlooked of like, so much work goes into making all spirits, all different things in life. But it's like, sometimes you might just overlook them. You're not really paying attention. It's like, wow, there's a lot of crazy cool things that's going on in this class, and how can we showcase this to you?
Yeah,
Oil,
absolutely. Oil.
oil. This is the real oil.
Well, cheers. This is actually and we didn't taste this in the beginning. We just dove right into the gin and tonics, but man, this is so good just by itself, you know?
Yeah, so like I said, it's a modern take on a classic London dry style gin. So, if we take a look at it, we added some water, which is totally cool. When the professionals taste it, they always dilute it down to around like 20%, because
Mhm.
obviously, responsibility, but also you don't want to burn out your palate.
Yep.
But yeah, first thing I always
This
do
is
when I'm tasting a spirit is I take a look at it, right? Just to make sure there's no fruit flies or anything bad in there. And if there's an age statement or there any maturation involved, we can kind of get eyes on that. Obviously, we're
mhm.
looking at a clear spirit here. We're doing lemon dry gin. So a little nose on there, right? Always open your mouth, right? Open those olfactory glands. I'm getting, a little bit of light citrus. I'm getting floral. I'm getting a little bit of that pine from the lavender from the juniper.
Mm,
Super silky smooth nose on this. Very
yeah.
floral, very, very easy. Almost a little bit of sweetness comes to the nose as well.
Yeah.
Really fun nose. So once we do that, I go for the initial taste a little bit. I'm a whiskey guy, so I always do that Kentucky chew. Chew it around, get it down your jowls. Blow out, feel all the spice comes out. Definitely a long, great complex mid palate.
Mm,
Coats the jaw. On the back end, under my tongue, I'm getting a little bit of those. I'm getting that grapefruit. I'm getting that, that bitter orange and lemon. I'm
mhm.
salivating. All that bitterness is, getting me
Yeah.
ready for my next sip. Yeah, on the finish, it's a very long finish. It's got a little bit of that spice, that's that cassia bark, orris root.
Yeah.
It's just a really, really complex, long finish, but very balanced as well.
Mhm.
When I'm doing these, I'm closing
Yeah.
my eyes sometimes. I'm just really going on some sort of adventure on the spirit, and it's just a beautifully complex London dry style gin.
Yeah.
It's so easy to drink, and I tell people sometimes too. It's like, you know, how many times have you been in a bar or a bartender and someone's like, "Would you like this cocktail?" And they're like, "Well, I don't like gin." Well, it's like you just never had a good gin, or you never had a proper gin cocktail. It's
Yeah.
and then you make a drink, and they're like, "Oh, that's amazing. What's in it?" It's like that's gin. Gin's it's an amazing spirit. And then there's that thing when you have to taste people on gin. So it's a stronger spirit to drink on its own. This is very very easy to drink on its own. It's a
It is.
beautiful product.
Yeah. And I feel like, sometimes the thing with gin is that there's so much flavor packed into it, which isn't a bad thing. But this one, like what you were saying, is so balanced. Like it's so like I'm sitting here and like it just feels like I'm walking through my garden because I actually a lot of my herbs I picked from my garden. And it just feels like I'm just like walking through and just like smelling it, the honeybees are floating around. So I'm getting some of the honeysuckle, even like that sweet note that you were talking about. It's not in the gin, but just like a lot of balance. It's just very aromatic, but not overpowering.
One you're missing. I'm going to give you my job. You couldn't have said it perfectly. A nice cool correlation as well, or an afterthought. It's like you know less is more, right? Especially,
Hmm.
you don't want to overload it. Like when we're making cocktails, you don't want to add too many ingredients. You don't want to chase flavors and muddy it
Nope.
up. Prime example, we did these lovely three Spanish gin and tonics, just three or four ingredients, super light. But we had those first, and then it's almost tasting the gin afterward. It's like, yeah, no, the grapefruit and the orange is coming out. I'm getting
Yep.
a lot of the herbaceous flavors of the orris and the angelica and the floral from the jasmine. It works seamlessly.
Yeah. This is such a great gin. It's such a great hosting gin. It's such a great bartender's gin. And honestly, like this is you guys have this tie to music and artistry as well. And so this is exactly like you guys have this incredible thing called martinis. I know. Hold on. You're going to get it. You're going to get it. I'm sorry. I'm throwing you
I
on
don't
the
know if I have my
spot.
record on me right now. Give me one
Oh,
second.
no.
Oh, I have it. Hold on, internet.
But if you, as he's getting it, we actually have this incredible collection that they have put together that is um, martinis, music to drink martinis too. And it is this incredible record compilation. And here it is. He's bringing it to you fresh off the press. And oh my goodness, isn't this just so fun? I feel like everyone needs to like drop their favorite song or their favorite gin pun, and maybe we'll pick a person or two to send these to. Oh my goodness, music to drink martinis to. Look at this. That's so
So this is an amazing, kind of product that Simon and the team thought about. So, you know, the whole ideology behind a martinis, put on a record, you sit back with some good friends, listen to some music, and we created music to drink martinis to. So we worked with two legendary producers, Dan the Automator and DJ Prince Paul. This is inside the. This is also one of the most beautiful presentations. It's my first
yes.
album, because I'm a young boy, but so Dan the Automator and DJ Prince Paul, we let them know we wanted to create a 7-track album that kind of constitutes what it is to drink martinis to. So
Mhm.
they put together 7 unreleased tracks, lo-fi hip hop, a little bit of jazz, a little bit of rock, amazing kind of cornucopia of tracks. And then we paired
Yeah.
them with martini recipes. So in the sleeve,
Oh my gosh.
we have
Look
a
at that
lovely little
presentation.
recipe book, and also paying a little homage to the producers here. And we work with 7 bartenders around the world, from some anyone who's doing amazing things with martinis. And they each kind of built a cocktail or a martini around each specific track,
Oh
um,
my,
with all their names
this
and
is
recipes
so
and
cool.
backstories. You can even go to Forge Gin on Instagram, and I believe they're kind of showcasing the bartenders right now, throughout their feed. But it's just a lovely, lovely presentation. The record's amazing. I went out and bought a record player, and the music's amazing. It's unreleased music as well. I think there might be 1 or 2 songs on Spotify, but
Yeah.
it's just an amazing program out there. And we're going to start doing some launch parties around the country, with all these amazing producers and bartenders. Super fun.
Oh my goodness. I have to cheers to that because this is just honestly one of the best designed records I've seen. And I love collecting records, I have to say. And so I'm an old gal at heart. So we have a whole like set of records probably and even some of my coworkers, they're audiophiles as well, so this is just like so incredible. What beautiful presentation that is.
It was funny. So I went on Amazon, and I got a record player, and I was like, okay, because I want to showcase this album. I want to do my classes, and I do these cocktail classes now, and these gin classes, gin and tonic seminars, and I'll have my record player in the record. I'll play in the background, and it's amazing. And everyone talks about it. But as soon as I purchased the record player and I played this in my apartment, and I go to myself, I'm like, now I'm a record collector. Now I have to go buy records. Like, this is one more thing I have to do, because it's an amazing process. Even on, I
Yep.
believe, Forge Gin on their feed, or even Simon Ford's Instagram feed, a couple months back, he showcased the whole process of pressing the record and all the
Mhm.
behind the scenes, which is really fun and educational.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it there really is just something so special about putting a record on and making yourself a martini and just sitting back and just relaxing and listening. And oh my goodness, it's such a special moment. Honestly, some of my favorite moments are just sitting, listening to I don't know, like a John Coltrane album. So like for
Oh,
me, I just sit here and just I cannot wait to get my hands on this. So we do have it linked up here. So for everyone who's watching, if it's not available in your region, sign up for our emails and we'll let you know as soon as it's available to ship to you. But oh my goodness, this is so incredible. Such a beautiful product. I can't
I'll tell you
even.
what, I did get my shipment in, which I'm handing out to loved ones and bartenders and the cool people of the world. Just joking,
Yeah.
everybody. But I have some extra ones, so I don't know how you want to do this. Maybe if anyone wants one, in the comments, we can maybe pick a winner and do a little raffle.
I love it. Yeah. So everyone, drop a comment if you're still watching, and please say what your favorite song is, or tell us a gin pun, or just say, "Hey, this is my name. I want to join." And please drop your email as well so that we can find you and make sure that we are getting that in. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. That green. Ah, I don't know if
And
you can
it's
tell, but I love green.
stop it.
Um, my nails, this gin bottle, that record. I feel, my wall. So I think this is something that's needed. But yeah, everyone, please share your email so that we can find you, and we will make sure to pick a winner and get your info and send you a record. Oh my goodness, this is so cool. Well, thank you so much, Anthony. This was such a fun time. The minutes flew by. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it's already almost an hour in this virtual tasting, but it has flown by. Thank you so much for just your education, your knowledge, just sharing um, everything that you have, not just with Ford's Gin, but also just in tasting spirits overall. You're just such a breath of knowledge. So thank you so much. This is so great. And then everyone, just so you know, you can purchase this on Reserve Bar right now. So you do have the shopping links if you're on our website right now. And make sure to get it delivered directly to your door.
Yeah, yeah. And on my social media, Instagram, I think it's Anthony Bohlinger. I don't think there's an underscore in there. But I'll take a nice, big, beautiful portrait shot of these 12 different variations of Spanish gin and tonics for you guys to make at home.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And everyone, we hope you have a really great rest of your day and have a great summer. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.